Howdy ho, neighborinos. Welcome to Cybersecurity for Civilians 03C. This is the third of 3 videos in section 3 of my courses. Hope you're enjoying these as well as being informed. So, as promised before, the topic for this video course is going to be free. Who doesn't like free? I'm going to give you a list of some cybersecurity tools that you can use to help keep yourself safe, and I'm going to demonstrate them for you, in this video, and I will be giving you the full list of these URLs, these cybersecurity tools, down in the video notes below. So you don't necessarily have to be writing this stuff down as I'm talking about them. So you might be wondering at this point, Keith, are you contradicting yourself? I mean, you've been kind of poo-pooing the idea of free stuff up until now. These tech companies are supposedly giving us free goodies out of the goodness of their heart. I don't think that I'm contradicting myself with these tools. Remember, free doesn't mean necessarily good or bad. And as best as I can tell, these services are honest. With a lot of these tools, they are offering a free service for you, but they also offer a higher tier service as well, and those they charge for. They're basically upselling you, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing dishonest about that at all. It's just basically offering a free sample of their service, which you can use for your advantage. So anyway, just as a reminder, so all of these URLs that I'm going to be demonstrating for you, all of these tools, the URLs are going to be in the video notes below. So you don't have to be scrambling to write them down or anything like that as I'm talking about them. Now, again, I'm just a big fan of disclaimers, right? I do have to issue a disclaimer. Make sure that we're clear on this. None of these services are dispositive / conclusive / definitive. In other words, unlike Jesus, they ain't infallible. Nobody catches everything. It is entirely possible that you might use one or more of these services and they tell you, oh yeah, that URL that you're about to click on, oh, it's perfectly fine, it's harmless, and then it turns out to be bad. That's not likely, but it is possible. Again, nobody catches everything. That's one of the reasons why I give you multiple services here, different websites that kind of do the same thing as the other websites, so that hopefully if somebody misses something, then another website will catch it. So anyway, on to the actual freebies now. Okay, so our first website that I'm going to demonstrate for you is unshortened.me. But before I do that, I want to make sure that we all understand what shortened URLs are. Let's say, for example, you have a website that you want to send to someone and you don't want it to be a really long URL, long link or whatever. So let's say, for example, you want to send them this URL right here. So I mean, this is really long, so it's really complicated. So let me just go ahead and shorten that up. Just copy that, and you can go to a website like bit.ly.com, and you paste it in there, and you shortened it, and bada bing, bada boom, you have now a shortened link. And if you click on that link, it will bring up the web page that you sent them. So it's a really great service, nothing wrong with it. You can always tell when a link is shortened. It'd be kind of weird. It'll be like bit.ly and then / and then some numbers. There are other ways, but you can really usually tell if a link has been shortened like this. But let's say that you have another website that showed up in your spam box. Someone sent you, it showed up in your spam box and something about, your credit score or something, and obviously I'm not going to click on this link. Don't do that, but you can go ahead and copy the link address, and then let's take a look at what that is. See, bit.ly. So it's a shortened address. Well, where does this go? What does it do? Who knows? I don't know. So you can copy that URL. Don't click on the link. And then you can go to unshortened.me. And you plug in the link right there. That's shortened. And you say unshortened. And here it is. That's where that actually goes. Now, it may be harmless, who knows? But the thing of it is, if someone sends me a link that's like bit.ly and then a string of letters and numbers, I have absolutely no idea what that is. So unshortened.me is a really great tool to unshorten any mysterious link that you have been sent or that you see anywhere. Okay, so our next website that we're going to demonstrate is joesandbox.com. Like I said before, this does a really, really in-depth analysis on pretty much anything that you feed it. So let me go ahead and go to joesandbox.com and see here. Now, the first thing you got to know is you have to either register or log in. To register, it doesn't charge you for that. That's totally free, and if you go ahead and just get a free account, I believe you can do up to 10 analyses per day, which of course would be way more than pretty much anybody would need to do. So notice here you can download files, and here is browse URL. This is where you can put a URL in. You can also put in a URL here, and it will execute that file safely for you and tell you about what it did. But I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate for you. Copy the link. Obviously, do not click on the link. And I got to log in. And we go to log in here, and we put in the URL. And we go down here to analyze, and it asks you, you have to tell it, okay, yes, you may publish the results of the analysis, because basically it's going to use your analysis along with everybody else's on that web page. So you have to tell it, okay, confirm, and now it is working. I'm going to go ahead and pause it just for a second while it's working on this. Okay, and Joe's Sandbox finally, it took about 15 minutes for it to do it, but it did a deep analysis of that website, and as you might have expected, it is telling you that it is malicious. So again, it does a really great in-depth analysis, but it does take a while. So our next website that we're going to demonstrate for you, as I mentioned before, is VirusTotal. And this, again, is a website that I used to go to multiple times every day in my one of my cybersecurity jobs. Notice you have here File, URL, and Search. And I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate the URL for you. Let's go ahead and pull up that same URL that we got before from that very suspicious website that Joe Sandbox already told us is malicious. Let's go ahead and paste it in there, and we just hit enter, and it's doing analysis on it. Won't take very long, not nearly as long as Joe Sandbox is. Give it one moment here. Okay, all right, so a couple of things to point out. Number one, here is the link up here, and this is something that's very, very important. You notice here on the status, it says here that the last time that they checked out this website was a moment ago. If you look on here and it says 6 months ago, then I would recommend that you go ahead and reanalyze it, and that way, and then when it's done, it'll say, you know, just as it did here a moment ago. You don't want an analysis from 6 months ago. Who knows from 6 months ago? Something might have changed in the last 6 months. So anyway, what it did was it did a quick analysis on it, and it did find one of these websites that said it is malware, and that's, of course, that's really good enough for me. The rest of them had it as clean, and I will tell you this, nobody catches everything. That's why I'm showing you multiple websites to check out a URL. Just even if it had all of these saying that it's clean, all that means is that it went to all of these different websites, all these different services, and said, hey, have you ever heard of this website? And all these guys said, no, I've never heard anything bad about it, except for this one website right here. So that's all that is saying. It's not infallible. That's why I'm giving you more than one tool here, because again, nobody catches everything. Okay, so the next web page that we're going to demonstrate for you is urlscan.io. This has some very useful purposes. Let's go ahead and get another URL for you for us to test out. Hey, here's an email sent from Chase Bank, and they want to give me a $50 Chase reward card. Isn't that sweet of them? I'm sure this is legitimate, right? No. Anyway, we are not going to click on the link. We're not going to left click on this link, but we are going to right click and copy the link address. And we go to urlscan.io and we do a scan of it. And there it's working. Now I went ahead and did this same URL before, and here is the results of that. I'll go ahead and show you what they came up with after about, I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes. You now know exactly where the web page actually goes. And notice it had a bit.ly address in the email there. So who knows where this goes to, right? I don't know. So what this web page does is it goes to that web page for you. And that's what that bit.ly address actually goes to. Now, there's a couple of things here you need to know. urlscan.io is not the best for determining if a web page is malicious or not. They gave this no classification, and Google Safe Browsing is clean. I wouldn't trust that. But it does do a couple of things for you that the other web pages do not do. Notice here, it gives you the certificate information about that web page. What this means is that these guys here, exclusively.com, they went to Let's Encrypt, which, by the way, you wouldn't know this, but that's not a good certification authority. They went to Let's Encrypt, and they got this web page from them. They got the certificate for this web page back on April 28th, 2020, and it's only valid for 3 months. If that's the case, that is not a good sign at all. You would want, if this was a certificate that got taken out last year and it's good for 2 more years, that's a good sign. This is not a good sign at all. The other thing that they do for you is they give you a live screenshot of the web page without going to it. I'm not going to this web page at all, obviously, for good reason, but it shows you what the web page would look like if you clicked on it. So that's a good tool as well. Okay, so the next website that we're going to go to is urlfiltering.paloaltonetworks.com, and just as a reminder, I'm going to have all of these URLs in the notes on this presentation, so you don't need to be writing any of this stuff down necessarily. This is another place to test out a URL, and it actually does give you a pretty good indication of the reputation of that site. Once again, let's go ahead and copy that, and then we can go to the website, paste it in, and it does a search for you. And oh yeah, you have to tell them that no, you're not a robot. You do a search, and it is actually, and it is really fast. It gives you a quick reputation of it. This is a computer and internet info, and supposedly that website is low risk. So again, you know, this is not Jesus talking to you. but it is telling you, as far as it knows, it is low risk. It actually gives you what is the website for. So it doesn't seem to be a bad website itself. But anyway, that's another good freebie cybersecurity website that you can use to check out a mysterious URL. Okay, so the next web page that we're going to demonstrate for you is breachalarm.com. As the page tells you right here, we scan the internet for stolen password data posted by hackers and let you know if we spot your email address in a security breach. Let's say, for example, that you do your banking through mybank.com, and they don't have very good security at mybank.com, so the bad guys got onto their servers and stole a whole bunch of usernames and passwords and other data. They will take that data and they will post it on the dark web for sale, and they will sell that data to other bad guys who will then try to use that data to go into your bank account and steal your money or do other mischief. That's basically how it works. That's how the world works, unfortunately. So anyway, you put in your email address and you say check now, and they confirm that that this email address does actually belong to you. You tell them, I'm not a robot, I understand, and then you say, and then you get the results. And according to this, yes, I did have a password compromised. A password associated with your email address has been compromised at least 5 times. The most recent recorded incident is April 15th, 2020. Now, they don't tell you here which websites were compromised. They don't tell you that it's mybank.com or whatever, or your Google account, or they don't tell you. They just tell you that, yes, it got compromised. And here's where we get upselling. I told you before, they have to pay the bills just like everybody else. So they try to upsell you. And if you want the real service, if you want to be told exactly what has been going on, then you got to sign up for the this email watchdog service. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing dishonest about it. But that does prove to you once again, it ought to hit home to you. You need to have on every website, you need to have a password that is gibberish, that is completely randomized, and also unique to that website. That's very, very important. Okay, so the last of these free cybersecurity websites that I'm going to show you is haveibeenpwned.com. Not owned, pwned.com. And so anyway, it's actually kind of the same thing as breach alarm. You go to haveibeenpwned.com and you put in your email address and you say pwned. And it says, oh no, pwned on 10 breached sites and found no paste, subscribe to search. So basically, once again, they're trying to upsell you, and that's, again, perfectly fine. And that's what they do. They do tell you that it has been associated with some breached sites in the past. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as an opportunity to tell you this is what a credit monitoring service can do for you. And most of the big antivirus services out there, such as Norton and McAfee and all, they offer a credit monitoring service either along with their regular package or as part of an upgrade. So you can go to them and you can make a deal with them, and they can monitor the dark web for you at all times. I just wanted to demonstrate for you what these websites do for you for free. So before I wrap up this list of free cybersecurity goodies, I do have 2 more that I just want to mention in passing. The first one is just a big list of freebies. It is cyberx.tech/free cybersecurity tools. And again, just to remind you, all of these are going to be listed in the video notes below. Now, I do have to let you know, this is more techie than I have been talking about so far. If you are not interested in tech at all, if you don't really care about delving into the inner workings of this, that may not be the best for you. But hey, if you're curious, you can go ahead and check it out. And the other one that I do recommend for all of my non-techie friends, and it's literally in the name, tech4nontechies.com. It is a really great website. I have perused it, and it has a lot of great information and advice and suggestions, and especially it's got its own section of cybersecurity right there. I do highly recommend that you check out that website as well. So that is it for section 03C, and really that is the end of section 03 altogether. The next video is going to be 04, and just numbering them singly from this point forward. I really do hope that you have enjoyed these videos, or at least not been too bored by them. And the most important thing to me is that they will help keep you safer online, to keep the bad guys out of your stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and God bless.